Hello, I'm Stan Stoliker with Hub Culture, and we're at Climate Week NYC. Joining me right now is one of my favorite people in the climate sector, James Cameron from Climate Change Capital. Climate Change Capital is a real innovator in the sector, and it's been around for a while now, and lots of changes with your company, right? So tell us what's new.
Yes, we're now wholly owned by a very large agribusiness called Bunge, one of the great agribusinesses in the world, a very substantial organization with a strong Latin American base to its operations, but existing in many jurisdictions. Very substantial producers of soy and sugar and many of the vegetable edible oils that we use every day. Not a well-known brand in many parts of the world, but extremely well-known in others. And what's fantastic for Climate Change Capital is that they already have a presence in environmental markets, and we've combined our teams, and we now have access to many emerging economies where the opportunity to really focus in on the nexus between energy, water and food provides significant investment opportunities and some advisory opportunities as well. So, a new world has opened up, but as ever, when a very large corporation acquires a very small company, albeit one with quite a big brand, and we very confidently asserted how the future might look if investors behaved in a different way. We created this extremely idealistic mantra of creating wealth worth having. But the financial crisis took some of our power away. And it's very pleasing now to have a big balance sheet to work alongside to see if we can get some of that back and take our ideas and reach them into the world of energy, water and food.
So this nexus of energy, water, and food is, in the Chinese definition, probably a crisis, right? There's a bit of challenge, and there's also a bit of opportunity with it. So where do you see the challenges, and more importantly, where do you see the opportunities going forward?
Well, it's a huge challenge because it's about fixing many systemic failures all at once and understanding that you can make progress on one and undermine another. It's very, very hard. It requires systems thinking, so you do need people who are comfortable with that kind of analysis. We have very poor pricing of any of the externalities that affect our global public goods. So we've had an experiment with carbon, which has had some success, but the market's not functioning well at the moment. And we really needed that to work very well and demonstrably well before we could offer it as a solution in other areas of public goods. We don't have good, consistent, reliable pricing for water. Our global commodity markets are therefore in some fundamental way mispriced because we don't properly value the underlying resource upon which we depend for our soft commodities and indeed many of our hard commodities, which need a lot of water to be produced. Exactly, massive amounts of water. And so that's a system failure that needs to be fixed. We have very poor intergenerational valuation. So we have lots of incentive to exploit as much as possible now, and who cares about who comes later. And that is picked up in both our political and economic systems, and certainly our financial system, which spins far too quickly. Long-term investment just barely exists. I was amused the other day to be at an event, and there was a guy who was showing off that his fund had a long-only bias, and someone in the audience asked, "So how long is long?" He said, 2 years. And that's public equity, so one shouldn't be too hard on him, but it is crazy how little capacity there is in our huge money system for anything that looks remotely like long-term investing. So when you ask where the opportunities lie in these big problems, these big crises, they are in starting to correct those failures. So I really do think there's a tremendous opportunity for long-term investing in real assets with dividend yields that deliver more than one value. We think in our new combined enterprise that there's tremendous opportunity in what looks like a small sector called impact investing, but the elements of impact investing are the right ones for looking at mainstream investing, particularly in these essential elements for living well. You need productive soil, you need to make more food from less input, you need for more people, you need almost abundant and unlimited supplies of energy, and distributed power does that far better than our current energy systems. And when you combine really focusing on the underlying resources of water, soil quality and the creation of a more abundant energy, you do see a tremendous investment space. I happen to believe that distributed power is probably the most attractive investment space for real assets with real yields that we have currently. It's particularly attractive in growth economies. I was at an event on Friday focusing on investment in Africa. If you were to do a little Venn diagram, growth economy, desperate need for energy, agricultural, undervalued agricultural sector, you'd find a lot of jurisdictions in Africa that are ready for investment. Yeah,
I mean, they always say that Africa is the next big China, right, in terms of potential growth.
The growth rates are very impressive. Also, there is a kind of a knowledge and perception arbitrage which is attractive. Most people exaggerate the risk of investing in Africa. Much of our economic system doesn't have the patience for the kind of investment that is needed in Africa. We have business models for investment that can't really deal with the demands of building an infrastructure over many years, of doing several things at once. You know, I happen to have been involved with friends and really good close friends in an investment project in Tanzania. Now, I'm full of admiration for what they've had to endure in order to build a sizable agricultural venture with a mixture of foreign capital and domestic support. But there aren't very many investors that could tolerate that sort of delay on their returns. But we did get money from the US, from a private equity source, albeit one that had a mission, Capricorn, eBay money, and we combined that with risk capital from individuals, and then later we expanded our smallholder program to look after people who are on the land through USAID and NORAID. So we've combined different types of capital to deliver truly sustainable agricultural development in Tanzania, and we hope it's a model for others. Now, there's much more we could do. I mean, we'd love to make that also a sustainable energy hub. Mm-hmm. But if you look up and down that valley, it's an emblematic situation for the kind of investment I'm talking about. You have enormous agricultural potential. You have a growing domestic market. There is an absolute need for basic foodstuffs. And there's also a need for domestic brands, which haven't existed before. Huge development required on energy, better water management. They all go together. But if you bring them together and you really focus on them and you combine these different types of capital, what a great investment thesis.
So it's the Clean Revolution Matrix, and I'm Stan Stolniker with Hub Culture, here with James Cameron from Climate Change Capital. It's fascinating about the investment opportunity that exists with the clean energy and with the clean revolution at large. Thank you so much for your insight. Really great to see you as always, and happy Climate Week.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
Thanks.
Cheers, Dan.